Joining us now is Jason Colvin, who's a State Farm Insurance agent, and Sergeant Tom Seifert from the Huntersville Police Department. Thank you both for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming on the show. This is an important topic, and we definitely want to get into more of the details. But first, tell us about how this all started. How did the National Missing Children's program start?
I think it started to become more aware around the country in the late 70s due to a couple of high-profile missing children's cases. One of them in particular was the son of John Walsh, who's produced America's Most Wanted. In 1983, President Ronald Reagan designated May 25th as National Missing Child's Day to help promote the awareness of the children and those that are missing to forefront of law enforcement communities to make sure we're protecting our children.
So what's planned for this area for National Missing Children's Day?
Well, on May 25th, Jason and State Farm and the Huntersville Police Department and Chick-fil-A in Huntersville, we're going to do a secure child ID kit program in which any parents that want to bring their child up to Chick-fil-A that evening, we'll be doing an ID kit and taking their pictures and giving them a pamphlet that they're able to, if their child becomes missing, they'll be able to use that information to give to law enforcement to get the word out as promptly as possible.
How often do you recommend doing these? Because I know I've done them with my kids. It was probably 3 years ago. Is it something you should do every year?
It's they recommend for any children under the age of 6 that you really do it about every 6 months, because their facial features and everything change quite often. And I have a 10-week-old, and he's changed a bunch as it is. But anytime after that, basically, if you have major facial features and that types of changes, growths of the child, that's when you want to do it. So every year past age 6 is a good recommendation.
The ID kit you can keep and use that information. Typically doesn't change. Updating the picture is probably the most important thing, and if there are contact numbers and stuff like that on it, that might change. But changing the pictures, as usually I guess everyone gets a school picture,
right.
So each year you could put the new school picture in there.
Now, how many children actually go missing each year?
Across it's broken into some different categories, but about 800,000 kids go missing each year. But it includes several different things as far as runaways, children that are abducted by other family members, and then children that are abducted by non-family members. But approximately 60,000 kids are abducted every year by non-family members. So it's
that's a lot.
Yes.
That's a lot. Has it gotten better over the years or worse over the years?
I guess with the way that the population goes, it tends to fluctuate off of that. But the statistics are are still the same for the most part.
And what should parents do to educate their kids if they're ever in a situation?
Well, part of the program is it's called Take 25, and there's 25 tips that are on the website, and you guys are going to post on your website that will be given out. And for the most part, it's communicating with your children about safety living, being safe in your neighborhood, everything along those lines, from the home to school to the internet, and then out and about like playgrounds and stuff like that. But the biggest thing is communicating with your children to make sure that they're aware of what they need to do to keep themselves safe.
And why do you think some of the children have not become abducted? Like, is there something a child does that is the most successful when someone's approaching them, or when someone doesn't look right, or like,
there isn't one catch-all thing for a child to do, but I think making sure that they're aware of their surroundings, just like with adults, and teaching them good habits as far as if they're going somewhere, to make sure that the parents are aware, make sure that they're with a buddy or a friend, and then also making sure that they're aware of people in their neighborhood that they can identify as safe. A neighbor that you're friends with, or someone that you're able to say that your child doesn't have a problem going up to. If they feel uncomfortable, they can go to that location.
So. Also, I guess making sure they understand that they shouldn't worry so much about being rude. If they feel uncomfortable in a situation, they should scream or run away.
The biggest thing with that is having good lines of communication with your children. And like the tips that they put on the website.
Yeah, that's a great list. I wish we had time to read through them all, but there's some really good advice on there.
And we'll be handing that out that night also.
That list, okay.
Yes.
And what about the Amber Alert? Has that helped? Like, how does that work with
the
this?
Amber Alert is a great thing. It's a partnership between the police department, the media, the transportation, And what it does, it allows information to get put out instantly in case a child is abducted. So now with the Department of Transportation and with the media and with the way that technology is now, if for some reason a child was abducted, you'd be able to get that information out and disseminate it rapidly and help. You know, how it started was Amber was a little girl, 9-year-old girl that got abducted in front of her house off her bicycle. And some residents heard the child scream, came out, they saw the vehicle, and they immediately called the police, gave a description. They weren't able to locate the vehicle, and then they found Amber about 4 days later, 2 miles from her home. So what the Amber Alert does is it allows all of the information to get out to all the different types of, you know, the transportation, the police department, and the media. So anyone that would have been driving, if it goes out across the radio or anything like that, just makes more people aware, makes more people be involved in a situation. So more eyes.
I've actually heard a couple of them go off around here.
And they post them
recently.
on 77 too on those
Yep,
Never
on
did
the
the
electronic
Department of
boards.
Transportation
Yeah.
information boards. So,
Now, is there anything else you'd like to tell the viewers as far as, you know, people, you know, with children as a parent that we should do, or, you know,
Well,
obviously.
right, like what Jason said, I have 3 children also. So I think the biggest thing is, and I have 3 little girls, so the biggest thing is making sure that you have good lines of communication with your children, and don't necessarily try and scare them in saying that, you know, this is what you need to do in case of it, but just to make sure that they're aware of their surroundings, making sure that they know what's going on in their neighborhood, and if they're going somewhere, to let the parents know. If they're going somewhere, go with a buddy or a friend, and making sure that they understand where they need to go to be safe.
I'd also add, you know, we live in an area where a lot of people move in from different parts of the country. You know, it's so important to get to know your neighbors. Let them know who your children are. Make sure your children are comfortable with them. And that way, if you're ever in that situation, you know your surroundings and are able to report, keep an eye on each other. So it's a
Yeah,
good thing
that
to make
makes
sure
sense.
that you get to know your neighbors.
Well, let's finish up with details about the event, the time. I mean, it's Chick-fil-A in Huntersville.
Chick-fil-A at exit 25 off
25.
of Sanford Road and Statesville Road there. Jason and I will be there with a bunch of other officers. We'll be giving out information in reference to the tips to keep your children safer. We'll be providing the ID kits and fingerprinting the kids.
Got these right here, right?
And it's from 4 to 8.
4 to 8 p.m. Okay, and we'll also post that on lknsavings.com as well, and we'll put that list of the Take 25 on there as well. So thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing
Thanks for having
information.
us.
Thanks for what you're
Appreciate it.
doing. Thank you.